I'd like to call the Town of Clinton Planning Board meeting to order Tuesday, June 16th at 7:32. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Executive Order number 202.1, issued on March 12, 2020, suspending open meetings law and emergency state and federal bans on large meetings or gatherings. The Town of Clinton Planning Board, scheduled for June 16, 2020, will be held electronically via Zoom instead of a public meeting open for the public to attend in person. Members of the public may view the board meeting as it is live streamed on YouTube, www.townofclinton.com/government/planning-board-videos/. The first item on the agenda is a Littlefield variance. Is anyone here for that application?
Uh-oh, you're muted.
Oh, is that better?
Now
Yep.
you're-
Okay, I'm still getting used to this technology, so
Welcome to the world.
thank you. I'd love to be back in the office. Yes, that is myself, Littlefield. Littlefield, 370 Clinton Corners Road, Clinton Corners, New York, 12514.
Okay, this is step one in a two-step process.
Okay.
The planning board will give a recommendation to the zoning board of appeals, a yay, nay, or neutral, and then they will make the final decision on your variance. Okay, so if you briefly can explain to us what you're doing.
Sure. I moved up here back in November of last year. I did purchase oh, there we go. Thank you. I thought I lost you guys. An above ground pool. I actually picked it up in February because I thought they'd go out of business. So I actually picked it up early, and it's in the the side of the yard here in boxes. So I kind of have not a very big piece of property compared to a lot of the neighbors around on this parcel. But from the zoning perspective, you have to be a certain number of feet away. I think it's 75, 200 or whatever it is. So I'm asking for actually to be granted the feet where I actually have it here on the drawing. I can't put it really anywhere else. I've got to the left of that is the septic system. Down further where like the 2 is, that's where the well pipe is. And I can't put it on top of the well. And then this corner, there's a shed. So the only place I could put it is really where this circle is, or really between the 1 and the 5. And then it's kind of close to the house. And I didn't think that would get approved at all. But I would, look for recommendations if, you see fit as well. It's a 21 foot round. There is no backwash. It's a filter cartridge system, so there's nothing going into the ground. So feel free to ask any other questions.
Okay. Tracy?
So we've got the rear yard setback he's asking to be 16 feet, and it's supposed to be 50. But then there's also the idea of the side yard, and I just wanted to say that he clearly doesn't need that, even though it's 35 feet, because this falls into the category of the, it has to be 1/3 of the 2 added together. So when you add 65 and 35, you get 100, and so 33 would be too close. So 35 is acceptable. So that's the side yard there. It's written in like yellow. And it's also in black. But anyway, so he doesn't need that. So he only needs the back. And then the other problem though is the yard coverage. It was mentioned in the refusal letter that he thought that it was over 12%. So I think he needs a variance for that too. So that's really all there is. There's no ag district. The property's in the CEA. It's in the hamlet. It's a small non-conforming lot. All the lots right around there are, an acre, a little less than an acre. A couple of them have pools. So I think that it'll kind of fit in with everything else. The only other question I had was the Ridgeline Scenic Historic Protection Overlay District. But I don't think it matters anyway, but are the hamlets considered to be in that? I can't remember, and I didn't bring my book here.
I don't know, can somebody check their zoning book?
Your question? Great.
So, yeah, so I'm just not sure if it's definitely in a CEA because it's in a hamlet, but I can't remember if the CEAs are included in the Ridgeline Historic Protection Overlay District. I think they are.
It says
Yeah,
it includes the
I think
hamlets.
so, yes.
They are, yeah, okay.
Includes the hamlets, yeah.
So, but residential homes are excluded, so.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think it matters. I'm just going to state that it is. Yeah, so that's all I have.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on for this applicant?
Did you calculate, Tracy, the lot coverage, right?
Well, I know that we need,
No,
I know that we need to get that it's over 12%, but I'm not sure how to calculate it.
You have to add all the structures, the square footage, including plus the pool, and then he's allowed 12%, I believe, of 43,560 times whatever the acreage. I have the calculation.
You have the calculation, so why don't you tell me?
Well, we
So
have,
it's,
Paul and I has the issue about because the square footage in the parcel access says 1896. So we add 1896 plus,
No, but that's the total square footage.
yes, that's right. So
Just
we do the
footprint.
1152.
Yeah.
1152, which is the first story and the second story. 1152 plus the shed, plus what's the
Shed was,
and the pool is
shed
how
was
big is the
120.
shed?
Shed's 120, the
120.
patio is 288, the porch is
I
96.
have 1608 before the pool.
I got 2002.
What do you have? 1152 plus 336.
Yeah, with the pool, sorry.
Oh, with
right.
the pool. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what is that?
Wait, what's your number, Paul? 2000.
With the pool, I got 2002, but the pool's 21 feet in diameter, right?
yes,
Yes.
21 minutes.
Okay. So pi r squared, so 1100. I got 2002. Total,
Only
with the pool.
2002.
With the pool?
With the max should be 1934, so it's not very much over.
So 1930, 2002 less 1934, 68 divided by. It's only 3.39.
What is it? 3.39% over?
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that right, Paul?
I don't know. I'm real. What did you say? Oh, it's
2002
6,
plus
68 over,
1934, 68. It's only 68 over.
and it's
divided
allowed. They're
by-
allowed 1934.
Yes.
So what's what? Percentage of 1934 is 68.
So it's 9%,
Huh?
0.9% over.
So it's supposed to be 12. And it-
9.66.
I'm sorry, it's percentage of the total allowed, right? Or no, it was a percentage of the, yeah.
No, it's 1934 is what's allowed, right? 12%, 12%.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's over the acreage, it's over the acreage, so it's,
No, it's
you have to do it in square feet. It's,
times
and
0.3560
it's
times
0.37,
0.12 is 1934. That's what's allowed.
yeah.
And we're
Okay.
over by 68.
But so what we're asking for the variance is going to be 12 plus 9? Am I hearing that right?
It's got to be like 1% or less, right? It's
Yeah, hold on. I
gotta be
think
really small.
1934.
So should we just say 1%?
Oh, you could just put 68 over the allowed.
You don't have to figure it out.
Let them figure it out. Okay, so
Just put 68
68 square feet over the
the allowed
allowed.
1934.
Okay, hang on. Let me just write that down.
Let them do the percentage.
I know, we're gonna fail math. Oh my God.
No, no.
Shame on us, right? I'm dividing 68 divided by 1934. It's coming 3.51. Oh, hold on. 2002 divided by 1934, 1.03. 1.03. Hold on.
All right, well, I'm just going to say it that way and let them figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else?
I have one question. What kind of screening do we have on the side closest to another house there on the 1.6 acre parcel? Is there any screening?
It's like a driveway, right?
It's a driveway and a split rail fence,
Yeah.
because their house is all the way up, kind of where the 7 and the 8 is on their,
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. They're kind of up on a hill, like a windy kind of,
Yeah, it's hard to see it even.
yeah, I
The,
wouldn't even.
the, the next door house is far away.
I
Okay,
think they have a pool too back there. And then in the back here, this is actually a stockade fence back here
Yeah.
as well. And then the house over here is the same, that you go up a windy road or straight road. And then their house is set back as well. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of, really close to the road here.
Yeah.
The other houses I think were built a lot later, like in the 1980s
And
and 70s or something, yeah.
the driveway is like a little roundabout kind of deal.
It's a horseshoe, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then and it goes like right in front of the house, so there's a car and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty blocked.
okay. Tracy, do you have
Okay.
any resolution?
Okay, yeah. Be it resolved that the Clinton Planning Board makes a positive recommendation to the Zoning Board of Appeals on the requested area variance to section 250 attachment 2, reducing the rear yard setback from 50 feet to 16 feet for the installation of an above ground pool, and a variance on the allowable lot coverage in the hamlet zone of 12% as requested by Eric Littlefield on the property located at 370 Clinton Corners Road, Clinton Corners, New York. Tax grid number 561529-00 in the Hamlet zoning district. Whereas the applicant is requesting a reduction of the rear yard setback from 50 feet to 16 feet for the installation of an above ground pool, a variance on the allowable lot coverage of 12%. This pool will be 68 square feet over the allowable 12% lot coverage on this 0.37 acre non-conforming lot. The proposed side yard setback of 35 feet is acceptable as In the H zoning district, note 4 allows that the total width, 35 and 65 feet of the side yards must not be less than 50 feet, and the width of the narrower of the 2 side yards shall not be less than 1/3 of the total width of the 2 side yards. So he's okay on that. The applicant is proposing to place the pool in the setback area that is the best place to site the pool in this very small lot. The property is not in an ag district. The property is within the Ridgeline Scenic and Historic Overlay Protection District. The property is in a CEA. The variance requested is substantial, but choices are very limited on this small non-conforming lot as the septic is in the side yard. An undesirable change to the neighborhood will not occur as many of the surrounding lots are non-conforming, small, and have pools. The alleged difficulty is self-created as the applicant wishes to build the pool in the setback area. No adverse effects will be created by the building of the structure except during construction. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board is making a positive recommendation. The town board of zoning board of appeals.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
You gotta do roll call. You gotta do roll call.
Justin, I.
Tracy, I.
Sarah Love, aye.
Paul, aye.
Jack? Jack here?
They're muted. They're muted.
Oh, Jack, you're mute.
Okay,
Unmute.
Art, aye.
Jack, you gotta unmute, Jack.
Aye.
Gary,
Okay, did we get Jerry? Is Jerry here?
he's muted.
He's muted also?
Jerry, unmute, Jerry. Jerry, unmute.
I'm trying to.
I did it for him.
Okay.
Okay. Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Resolution approved. And Mr. Littlefield, you will be going to the zoning board of appeals for final approval.
Okay, thank you. May I ask one quick question? What is a CEA? You had mentioned that a couple of times when you were talking. What does that stand for?
Critical environmental area.
Okay, just for my knowledge. Okay, thank you.
And so that's the hamlets.
Okay, I see.
And you're in one.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is a public hearing for Devereaux, a special permit for a bed and breakfast. Do we have anybody here?
I have Devereaux in the waiting room plus 3 other people, Glenn Berger, Jeff Silveas, and Patrick Murphy.
Hold on a second. Eric, you could leave the meeting.
Yep,
You don't have to stick around. You could leave the meeting.
Yep, I'm just finding the button, sorry. I'm
Start
learning.
to the right where it says leave.
That's too easy. Thanks for your help, Arlene, too, for getting this done. Have a good evening. Stay safe, all.
Sure.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that worked.
There we go.
So let me know who to let in. Everybody?
Yeah.
Murphy's an applicant, right?
Murphy's an applicant.
We need the applicant and
Mike
the,
Gominski, the surveyor, I think is he in? Mike?
as long as the public can hear what's going on, and then we can let them in individually to speak if they want to speak.
They can't hear what's going on. We have to let them into the meeting.
Okay, then we have to let them into the meeting.
Do we let everybody in, including Patrick Murphy?
Is he,
No. We're doing do it, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Do it.
Yeah.
It's Agnes. It's Agnes DeBrew.
Yeah.
Murphy is the wetlands permit.
Okay, not Murphy.
Okay, but let the other Jeff Sylvaeus and Glenn Berger, let them in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is there anybody here for the Devereaux special permit?
Yep, that's me. I'm here.
Okay, okay. Would you briefly tell us what the application and explain it to us? This is a public hearing.
Okay, so the application is for a bed and breakfast at 18 Hollow Road, the 1773 DeWitt House. We contacted the Town of Clinton Highway Department and the Dutchess County Highway Department, and they both agreed on a parking plan, which is off South Creek Road. People would turn in to South Creek Road to 4 spots, like you see in the drawing, and then for them to back out and then drive straight out to South Creek Road and then make a right down there since it's a one-way street. We have some lighting in that area. We already installed lighting at the barn across the street where we would put our own cars. And we're also thinking of putting up some signs to encourage people to slow down as they turn onto that street. And of course, we let all the guests know when they come that that is a one-way street and they would have to turn right onto the road as they leave.
Okay. Are you all set?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing, please?
So moved, Jack.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay. Jack, do you, before we get comments from the public, do you have anything you want to add here or any new information that's come in that you want to read?
Just a couple of questions. This is a 3-bedroom B&B, right?
That's correct.
And when you were last here, you were applying for an alcohol permit for the guests in the B&B. What's the status of that?
Well, an alcohol permit can't be approved until I'm actually a B&B. The purpose of the alcohol permit is so that I can get catering permits to serve alcohol at off-premises catering. I'm not going to have a bar in the B&B. That's not the purpose of it. It's to use it. A caterer can only get a liquor license if they already have a licensed space, and that's a restaurant, an event space, or a B&B.
I see.
Gotcha.
Okay. So those were the only sort of updating that I had on my list. We were not talking about the sign permit. We'll deal with that later.
Right. Do we have copies of the letters from the highway departments, the
Yeah,
county?
it's one in your packet where the highway superintendent just scribbled and says, I approve this. Let me see.
Yeah, but we don't have anything from the county in
Yes,
writing.
we have an email from the county.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yes, yes. He said because it's not a town, it's not a county road. So
Yeah,
he's
it's
sharing
not
it.
his business. Okay.
So we have both those letters are in the file.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment? If so, please state your name and your address, and we need just one person to speak at a time, please.
State your name and address, please. Anybody? Public? Are they in? Fred?
There's Glenn Berger is in and Jeff Silveas. And then we have Patrick Murphy in the waiting room. But you said
Okay.
Patrick was for the next applicant.
Right.
I guess I could just talk briefly.
Please state your name and your address.
My name's Glenn Berger. My address is 30 South Creek Road. Just in terms of the town may need to put larger one-way signs at the end of our road, because with the guests coming out of that parking area, they would be tempted to go right onto Hollow rather than continue down one-way road. I mean, obviously the traffic would increase in the residential area, but that's a very dangerous intersection to turn left because the cars are coming around the corner there, and it would be important that the guests would know, even in terms of liability issues to the town, because if the guests may still try to exit that way and could cause an accident, but if there was good signage to indicate that that was a one-way road, then that would reduce the liability to the town, I would suspect.
Okay. That's, I don't know who would initiate that, but as far as from the way you described it, I think it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any ideas on who would initiate?
The highway guy normally will put a sign.
We'll talk to Martin and, I mean, is that up to us or?
Is there going to be any signage from the lot that says right turn only or no left turn? That's something the property owner could do, right?
I would imagine. I think it's probably a good idea to talk to our highway supervisor and see what he suggests, because I don't know, it sounds like a logical idea to me. I don't know what everybody else feels, but.
No, it makes sense. I'm just wondering whether we should condition approval on that or just leave it as a suggestion.
You want my opinion?
Mm-hmm.
So my opinion is that any business should post an exit out of their own parking lot with a sign. If the sign that's on the corner there is not adequate, that would be Todd Martin's responsibility to adequately post on the town road itself. But as a business, I would say that the business owner should adequately post leaving their driveway or parking lots that information.
Ms. Devereaux, is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
I suggest we then condition approval on that.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other comments from the public?
I can just make one more comment. This is Glenn Berger again, 30 South Creek Road. I'm just making a comment for my neighbor, Janet Mills. I had mentioned this in an earlier meeting, I guess, about how the hamlet of Frost Mills is a dedicated, is an approved New York State critical environmental area. And I don't know if that adds any extra scrutiny to the project but I did mention it before. I don't know if that has been looked up or addressed in any way.
Okay.
The footprint of the building is not changed, as I understand it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the parking's been approved by the highway department. So I don't see any changes other than, the building department approvals that might be required.
Is she changing the building?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay.
the footprint of the building remains the same.
Yeah,
They've done a lot of work to the building, but not the footprint.
right. Okay.
Okay. Okay, anyone else, the public hearing? Okay, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
A second,
Tracy, second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. So moved. The public hearing is closed. Thank you, Mr. Berger. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. And we'll return to Devereaux in a little bit. We have another, if you mind going back to the waiting room for a while.
Sure.
Have somebody else on the agenda ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay, Murphy Wetlands Permit. Is anybody here? We can let those folks in.
Who do we need to put back in the waiting room, Art?
I put Glenn Berger back in.
He's,
And Devereaux can go back in, I guess, and then come back.
Yes.
And Jeff is here for,
Evangelical Free Church?
No?
nope. Back in the waiting room, Jeff. We're looking for Patrick Murphy.
so Jeff goes back to the waiting room.
Goodbye, Jeff.
Patrick, you're on mute. You gotta unmute yourself.
Do we have Murphy?
I don't think he's here. I
He's
thought
here, he's muted.
He's muted.
How about that? Am I unmuted?
Yep.
There you go.
Okay. Hello.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Murphy's Wetlands Permit. And obviously, I see you, so I know you're here. Just state your name and tell us briefly what you're doing.
Patrick Murphy, 53 Lake Pleasant Drive. I am on Browns Pond, and I did a kitchen renovation. When adding a new door, I wanted to expand when I put the new door in, there was no deck there. So I wanted to expand the existing deck in line with what was there same distance off the house, but about 23 feet longer, I think.
Okay.
And you're burying a propane tank too, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I also buried a propane tank in the backyard. Yes.
Okay. Justin, do you have any comments here?
Sure, this is mine. So the applicant was here before for the area variances for the deck. Went to ZBA, got approved, is now back for a wetlands permit. I think that means that we need to do the secret process. I don't know if we want to, do a public hearing again. There already a public hearing on the area variance for the ZBA, or could waive it. But I've got, motions lined up for lead agency, a negative declaration, a resolution, however folks want to proceed. But we did have a relatively lengthy discussion on this when I was here the last time about the area variance.
Paul, we've waived the public hearing on this.
Yes.
In the past.
We have the option.
Yeah, I personally don't have any objections to waiving it, but it's up to the board. The rest of the board. Any comments?
I'm fine with waiving it.
Okay.
Favor of waiving it.
Okay. Jack?
That's fine.
Okay. So, and Justin?
Yeah, especially since he already had a public hearing at the
Okay.
ZBA. There's no need to torture the process.
Okay. So if you have a resolution and are comfortable that you've asked your questions, anybody else have anything to say? Any questions for the applicant before Justin reads the resolution?
Did you check the DEC, Patrick?
Mark Gorinsky headed that up, and I guess I don't know 100%, but he said I didn't have any issues. And he's available if we need him.
Would you, I think, Justin, probably until we get a go-ahead that there's no DEC issues, that we just make it conditional until we get that, whatever paperwork we need, or Mark lets us know. Does that sound logical to you?
Mhm.
So do you want me to do a motion declaring us lead agency, go through SECRA, do the SECRA negative declaration?
Yes.
Get that out of the way?
You get that out of the way,
Resolution?
and then you can do the resolution.
Okay. So I've got a resolution from the Planning Board of the Town of Clinton to declare lead agency under SECRA for Murphy Wetlands permit dated June 16, 2020. Whereas Patrick Murphy has applied for a wetland permit in order to extend the footprint of an existing deck and to bury a propane tank at 53 Lake Pleasant Drive. And whereas granting a wetland permit is an action to be reviewed under SECRA and its implementing regulations found at 6 NYCRR Part 617. And whereas approval of the wetland permit is an unlisted action under SECRA, now therefore be it resolved, the planning board hereby declares itself lead agency pursuant to SECRA for the environmental review of the Murphy wetland.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can we start doing a roll call, please? It's required.
Justin, aye.
Sarah Love, aye.
Jack, aye.
Jerry, aye.
All right.
Art, aye. Paul?
All right.
Okay. Okay, so moved.
Okay. Your lead agency, I'm going to tick down the form. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a CEA? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or other aesthetic resources? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, damage, or drainage? No or small impact. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. Any comments, questions? If not, I'll do a resolution for the negative declaration. Resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Clinton approving a negative declaration under SECRA for Murphy Wetlands permit dated June 20th, 2020, June 16th, 2020. Whereas the Town of Clinton Planning Board declared itself lead agency pursuant to SECRA for the environmental review of the Murphy Wetlands permit. Now therefore be it resolved that based upon the information and analysis in the short environmental assessment form, the Town of Clinton Planning Board has determined that the proposed action does not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And be it further resolved, the Town of Clinton Planning Board hereby issues a negative declaration pursuant to the requirements of SECRA and in accordance with Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law.
Need a second?
Second.
Tracy. Okay.
Okay. When we second or vote, we have to mention our names for the record, okay? It'll be easy for people who are viewing this. So the second was from Jerry, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Discussion? All in favor? Art? Yes?
Sarah Love, yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Jack, yes.
Oh, yes.
Jerry, yes.
Tracy, yes.
Okay, so moved.
Okay, so just before I do the resolution, I just, for the sake of completeness, just want to point out that we're talking about section 250-78 of the town code. In connection with the permit, there are approval standards in subsection E, subsection G. And I just want to note for the record that we have kind of done everything that's requested in here for the standards. That's reports of boards or commissions, suitability or unsuitability of activity in the area for which it was proposed, the effect of the proposed activity on wetlands and water courses and water bodies, the possibility of avoiding by some other means, the extent to which property rights and the public benefit outweigh the degradation of a wetland, and comments, if any, from the zoning administrator. I think between this hearing, the application, and the last hearing, we've gone through all of the various factors and as well as the SECRA review that we're required to. And so unless anyone has any questions, I'm happy to read a resolution, proposed resolution, and it's going to include the 4 findings that are required in section I, and I'll flag those when I'm going through the motion. Good, okay. Resolution of the Planning Board of the Town of Clinton for approval of Murphy Wetlands permit dated June 16th, 2020. Whereas Patrick Murphy has applied for a wetlands permit in order to expand an existing deck and to bury a propane tank on a 1.75 acre site in an AR5 zoning district at 53 Lake Pleasant Drive in the Town of Clinton. Parcel number, application, and site plan prepared by Mark Leminski dated March 8th, 2020. And whereas the applicant seeks to expand an existing deck and to bury a new propane tank as described in the submitted application. Whereas section 250-78 of the Town of Clinton zoning law provides that an applicant must submit for planning board review and approval proposed site plan in connection with the wetlands permit. And whereas applicant submitted a site plan and received approval of an area variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals on May 28th, 2020, relating to the location of the proposed deck expansion and propane tank. Whereas a short form environmental assessment form has been submitted, the planning board declared itself lead agency for this unlisted uncoordinated action, and the planning board issued a negative declaration for the purposes of Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law on June 16th, 2020. Whereas the planning board has considered the items enumerated in section 250-78G of the town code. And whereas the planning board has concluded that the proposed regulated activity is consistent with the town's policy to preserve, protect, and conserve wetland, watercourse, and water body functions and the benefits derived therefrom. Whereas the requested permit for the proposed regulated activity is at least as restrictive as would result under application of the Freshwater Wetlands Act of the State of New York, Environmental Conservation Law, Section 24-0501 et sec. And whereas the planning board has concluded that with respect to the specific facts application, the public health and safety will not be threatened by the proposed action. whereas the proposed regulated activity cannot practicably be relocated on site to eliminate or reduce the intrusion into the wetland, water course, or water body, or the controlled areas adjacent thereto, whereas the planning board has considered the factors, now therefore be it resolved, the planning board hereby grants approval of the requested wetlands permit conditioned upon payment all fees and approval from the DEC, or do we have confirmation that the DEC has no objections?
Yes, that sounds good to me.
No, I think the board agreed to put a condition to make sure. We're not sure yet.
Right, so do you want the condition to be approval from the DEC, or do you want the condition to be?
A sign off whether the DEC is required or not, because we're not sure whether it's a requirement.
Yes.
Who's providing the confirmation?
The applicant.
Applicant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So condition upon payment of all fees and the applicant confirming that DEC approval is not required?
Yes.
Okay. So moved.
Okay. A second.
Tracy, second.
Discussion? All in favor? Art, yes?
Jack, yes.
Oh, yes.
Justin, yes.
Sarah Love, yes.
Okay,
Tracy, yes.
so moved. Mr. Murphy?
Great, thank you very much. I'll follow up with Mark Graminsky tomorrow morning and resolve the DEC part of this, and also make sure I'm clear on fees.
Yeah, you normally just go call the DEC, just say what you're doing, whether you need
Yep.
a permit from them, that's all. And if they said no, then you're good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Murphy can leave the room.
Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. It's
You're
a
welcome.
nice town to work with.
No.
And we can let the Devereaux back into the meeting, please.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Okay. Hi there.
Hello.
You're back. Okay. Jack, you want to start with the special permit, and then we'll move to the sign permit?
Sure. Do we need to go through the short form approval for this one, I think?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we declare ourselves to be the lead agency for purposes of this special permit application for B&B at 18 Hollow Road.
We need a second.
Tracy, second.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Art, aye.
Jerry, aye. Aye.
Tracy, aye.
Sarah Love, aye.
Okay.
Oh, aye.
So going through the criteria, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of the land? No or small. Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristic that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Small. will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy? And if they also incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, aesthetic resources? Actually, it will improve those. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to the natural resources, wetlands, so forth? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No, and therefore I respectfully move that we issue a negative declaration regarding the environmental impact of this application.
Second.
Paul, second.
Discussion? All in favor? Art, aye.
Jack,
Justin,
aye.
aye.
Dory, aye.
Tracy, I.
Sarah, I.
Paul, aye.
So moved.
Hold on a second. I need that neg deck to be signed by the chairman, so don't lose it. Jack, Justin, the negative declaration, that review, the one that you reviewed a while ago, the short form, I need that signed in my file, for the town file.
Mechanically, how do we do that?
I know, for Zoom.
I can send, I'll send you,
Signing?
Arlene, I'll send you an email tomorrow with
Yes.
the language.
I just, no, that's fine. I need the form that you reviewed with all the answers to the part 2 of the short form that needs to be signed in town file.
All right, so you want me to make little check marks and get it over to
Yeah,
you?
you gotta answer it. You know how when we do it actual, when we're answering
Okay,
the form?
I will make little check marks and send it over.
Yes, Justin too.
I am the check mark king.
I'll scan it, yeah.
Yeah, with the answer. Don't send me a blank one. You know what I'm saying? The one when you were asking before and then you're answering it. You
I understand.
Okay.
Of course, Justin.
I'm gonna send you a blank form.
Yeah.
Okay, you're still up, Jack.
Okay, Ms. Devereaux, you understand we're going to condition this on your putting up an appropriate sign at the parking area indicating which way the exit is. And you might want to consult with the highway superintendent about what that sign would look like, but it's your job to get something up.
Right.
And in scanning the zoning regulation on signs, which runs for about 11 volumes, it seems to me there's an exception for traffic signs, which may or may not apply here, and an exception for signs that are not visible from outside the property. And you may be able to structure your sign after talking to the highway superintendent so that it falls within one of those exceptions, so you don't have to make a separate sign application for that one.
Okay. Would something like no left turn or right turn only, is that sort of what you're thinking about?
That's yeah, I think that sort of works. Does anybody else have any views? But you know, just warning people that it's one way and they should only turn in the right direction.
I mean, I would assume that the highway department, as Jack suggested, would have a good suggestion.
Yeah.
But one of the basic signs that, you know, with the little arrow that says no left turn, right turn only, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with that red slash through it or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think a quick chat with the highway superintendent should be able to go
Okay.
a long way to resolving that. And you may be able to come up with a way that we don't need another approval for that thing.
Okay.
I don't have, this has been here a lot over the past year, so I don't have any further comments unless somebody else does. I've got a resolution.
I just had a call. I have no problem with what's being done. I just had just a couple technical points. I think this is permitted in a hamlet. So I think what we're actually doing is a site plan approval, not a special permit. That's the way I read the.
I think a bed and breakfast requires a special permit in an
No.
hamlet.
It
Yes,
says P. It says P, not SP.
No,
Under H.
you gotta go on the schedule of use.
my thing says SP.
It says under Hamlet, it says P on mine.
Oh, they're in an RH district. So I,
I thought they were in the Hamlet.
well, they say they're in the hamlet of Frost Mills, but I think it's an RH district. And
I mean, it's not a substantive issue. If that's true, that's fine. I thought they were in a regular. What's an Ross Mills RH. Okay, good. And the other point is, did we refer this to county planning?
Yes, before, they don't have any comment.
And you got the thing back? Okay, that's all I
Yes,
have.
a while ago, it's been a while since.
Okay, so we did. Okay, we did it, and it's done. Good.
Yeah, we did,
That's all I
we did
had.
the referral to the agencies.
Okay, Jack?
okay, whereas applicants Agnes Devereaux and Daniel Shee seek a special permit pursuant to sections 250-33 of the Town of Clinton zoning code to establish a bed and breakfast B&B at 18 Hollow Road in the Town of Clinton, parcel grid number, which is a 9.83 property in the hamlet of Frost Mills. And 2, this home is one of the oldest in the Town of Clinton. It was severely damaged by fire in recent years, and applicants have done extensive work to restore the house, including new plumbing, heating, and cooling systems, circuit breakers, and siding. The proposed B&B will not alter the existing footprint of the home. A representative of the Clinton Historical Society appeared before the planning board in support of this application. And 3, applicant Devereaux states she has considerable experience in the hospitality business, including operating the Village Tea Room, Restaurant, and Bake Shop in New Paltz for 14 years. And 4, applicants propose to have 3 guest bedrooms and to occupy the remainder of the house themselves. The B&B will be an accessory use of the single-family dwelling. There will be a kitchen for the guests, and applicants are seeking a liquor license for off-premises catering. There will be no public dining room, restaurant, or bar. 4, applicants first appeared before the planning board in July 2019. There have been 3 public hearings on this matter. Neighbors have attended the public hearings and raised questions, principally about the location of the proposed parking facility. Applicants have revised the parking proposal in light of these comments and in discussions with the town and county highway departments. The current proposal is for 4 9x18 spaces on a gravel surface with exterior lighting behind the house. There will be 1 entrance exit onto South Creek Road. There will be I have to write the language, there will be a proposed sign indicating no left turns at that point. The planning board has received written approval from the town highway superintendent for this parking proposal. Applicant also spoke to the county highway department, which has indicated that it does not have jurisdiction because the parking exit will not be on a county road. A short form environmental form has been submitted. The planning board declared itself lead agency and determined that the environmental impact of the B&B will be small. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves applicant's request for a special permit pursuant to section 250-33 for a bed and breakfast, conditioned on posting an appropriate sign indicating the exit from the parking lot and upon payment of all applicable fees. Having read that, I have one question. The plan indicates there will be exterior lighting on the parking lot. What is that going to look like?
It's going to be solar lights that like floodlight the the parking areas so that you can see where you're parking because it's pretty dark there. But then the rest of the property has all landscape lighting, so it's all lit. The rest of just not that area.
And has the highway superintendent signed off on the lighting as well?
No.
Do we need that?
Well, that's normally the planning board, the lighting.
Okay. If
It's normally downward. It's got to be downward. We have a regulation about lighting. It's got to be downward lighting.
Yes.
Cannot be like a
Sky
sky.
lighting. Yeah.
So I'll indicate that it's downward lighting. That's fine. Okay.
Jack, do you want to say it shall comply? What's the, it's the general standards, right, Arlene, or?
Yeah, there's a, we
Okay.
have a
I want to say
section
it
that
shall
says
in all
lighting.
respects comply with, trying to
Hold
find
on,
the
let's find it.
section.
I'll just make that an additional condition.
Yeah,
Just put it on the condition, under the lighting condition. You always, it's normally down lighting. It cannot be illuminated or like a park.
well, it can,
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the second. Yeah, go ahead. I was just trying to find if there's anything specific. Yeah, in the general performance standards, it's glare and heat. That's where it says illumination beyond no illumination beyond the property. Looking at it.
You have a number.
Oh, very good.
What section is that?
What, do you know the section?
250-28C, no unreasonable glare or heat shall be produced that is perceptible beyond the boundaries of the lot in which the use is located. All exterior lighting, including security lighting in connection with all building signs and other uses, shall be directed away from adjoining streets and properties. Special effort should be required is limiting hours of lighting or the planting of vegetation, installation of light shields to limit, actually it isn't bad. Limiting the impact of objectionable or offensive light and glare produced by exterior sources on neighboring residential properties.
All right. I'll just condition it on compliance with 250, whatever that is.
28C.
Okay, Mr. Devereaux?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So moved.
We need a second.
Second, Jerry.
I need all, hold on, I'm sorry. I need all the fees, condition, public hearing, all the public hearing, all this stuff. Jack, can you hear me? Condition my fees, please.
I'm sorry, you need what?
The fees to be conditioned to the approval.
Yeah, I put in a condition on payment of all applicable fees.
Yes, thank you.
We never forget the fees.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Jack, aye.
Paul, aye.
Yeah,
Sarah, I.
I'm missing somebody here. Justin?
Aye. Justin.
Okay. All right, so moved. Okay, next is the Devereaux sign permit. And you're on stage again, Jack.
I do all the work. I thought this was very straightforward and a nice, tasteful, small sign. But Paul, I lost Paul. Paul circulated an email today on the other sign that we have before us that indicated he thought it should go to the county because it was on a county road. This sign is going to be on Hollow Road. Is that right, Ms. Devereaux?
Yes, that's correct.
Do we need to send this to the county? It's a 2 foot by 1 1/4, 1 1/3 foot sign.
Well, did we sent the whole package to the county, didn't we, Arlene, or?
Not the sign permit, just the special permit.
But didn't it have the sign picture in it?
I think the original
Yes, but-
package did.
I think you have to send it separately. I mean,
Good.
Yeah, you have to set, because you gotta remember, we only addressed the special permit that time. We did not look at the sign permit yet, because
But-
we wanna make
if
sure.
the
that
sign was in the
special permit-
package that they looked at.
Yes,
Okay,
but it doesn't mean that.
that's fair notice.
I agree.
yeah. So this sign is going to be on Hollow Road just before the turn onto South Creek, is that right?
That's correct.
I think it's small, it's not illuminated. I don't see a problem with this one.
It's very tasteful.
It is, I thought so. So I have another motion. We're at,
Hey, I just wanna see the sign. So here's the sign to the public, whoever is looking.
right,
So this is where the sign is gonna be. It's right on that curve,
yeah,
on the Hollow Road. You,
Right.
And you have to comply with the size of the sign and everything.
yeah, it's fine. It's
No lighting or anything.
it's
Okay.
2.5 square feet. It's not lighted and it's wood.
Okay, all right, good.
No.
Good.
Whereas one applicant, Agnes Devereaux, wishes to use the premises at 18 Hollow Road of the town of Clinton as a bed and breakfast, which the planning board approved at its June 19th meeting. And two, applicant proposes a single non-illuminated painted wooden sign measuring 24 inches by 16.25 inches with a rendering of the house and reading 1773 DeWitt House. And three, the sign will be placed on the Hollow Road at the corner of South Creek Road in front of the home. For the sign, proposed sign meets the requirements of section 250-70 of the zoning code of the town of Clinton. 5, at its June 16th, 2020 meeting, the town of Clinton Planning Board declared itself to be the lead agency, determined this to be a type 2 action, therefore no further review is required. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board approves the allowance of the sign as described in the application. I don't know if we have to have a separate motion declaring ourselves lead agency, but I so move if we do.
I don't think so.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Tracy, second.
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Jerry, aye.
Art, aye.
Justin, aye.
Jack, aye.
Tracy, I.
Paul, I.
Sarah? Do we have Sarah?
Sarah's on mute.
Sarah, yes, sorry.
Okay, good. So moved.
Okay. Good luck, Ms. Devereaux.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck with your business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Fred,
Church,
the Devereaux can go. Evangelical Church sign permit is the next item on the agenda. Is anybody in the waiting room for that?
Yeah, yeah, Jeff Silveas, he said he was representing them. I just let him in, so he'll be here in a second.
Okay. Do we have a letter of authorization for this gentleman?
I don't. I don't.
You don't?
You are who? I'm sorry, you are who? Can you introduce yourself, Mr. Jeff? Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Jeff, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. I sent the email and I tried calling your office. Nobody was there. So you are who representing the church? How are you involved with the church?
I'm the pastor of the church.
Oh, the pastor.
Yep.
Well, I guess that qualifies you.
Yeah, I got stuck with the duty.
Okay.
Share your face, pastor.
I'm sorry?
I think your video is off. We can't see you.
Oh, there we go.
Better.
There we go. All set. Okay, could you briefly just tell us what you're doing?
Well, we're just replacing the sign out front of our church, basically with the same footprint, just different colors and different words. Just it's really old and it's rotting and it needs to be replaced. So, but we're not doing anything different. We're taking, it has a roof over it. We're taking the roof down and leaving that off. And it'll be 2 signs on top of one another, one for the church and one for Upton Lake Christian School. 6 by 2 and 6 by 2.5 and 6 by 2. 2 separate signs.
2.
I don't, okay.
Okay.
I don't have a, so I don't actually have a drawing that shows that. I have 2 other drawings that have different sizes. I have 6 by 3 and 6 by 2.
Oh, that was sent and I was told that that doesn't meet the code. So we shrunk the top one down to 6 by 2.5 to give it the 15 square feet.
Okay, so the first comment I have is I don't think you need to do that if you're not inclined to do that, because I think you have up to 30 square feet to work with. And so I think in terms of size, you're actually going to be okay. It would just depend on what you want to do. And what I mean, the one thing that I think, I went out there today. So you're going to take the roof off, and then are you going to use the existing posts there, or are you going to replace everything basically?
I think we haven't determined if the posts are in bad shape underground, but there's a possibility they'll be replaced if they're rotted.
Okay.
But everything is coming out, and the roof is coming off, and we'll probably put new posts on with these 2 signs. It'll be lit from floodlights on the ground.
Okay, so I guess what I think it would be helpful for me, at least, would be a depiction of what, with the actual dimensions that you're looking for, with, a really basic design. You're going to put posts, and then it's not going to have a top, or it sounds like.
Right.
It's just going to be, and then something that shows the lighting and the specifications of the lighting. I'm not talking about a detailed drawing, but just it would help just to visualize what it's going to look like. As I said, I don't think you have to keep it to 15 square feet. I think you have up to 30 square feet to work with. And the one issue, though, that I think you have to deal with is I read as Jack said, the extremely, well, I won't, these are my words, it's the confusing and convoluted sign law that we have. If the sign is above a certain size, I think it's 8 square feet, it's considered a structure, and so it has to conform with the setback rules, which I think in this area, in this hamlet area, would be 45 feet from the center line of the road. And I know the current one doesn't meet that requirement. So, I think if you're going to do a new sign, you would have to probably get a variance just for that setback issue if you want to put it in the same place. If, on the other hand, you were simply using the same structure and replacing the panels in the structure, I can't speak for anybody else, but my view on that would be, I think the way we've interpreted the sign law is if you're just replacing, using the same words and just reformatting the words or even changing the words, but just keeping the same basic structure, that it's not, doesn't need a new permit. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if you're going to take the roof off, you're going to change the lighting, you're going to replace the posts, you're really recreating, and you're creating a new sign. It's also different dimensions from the old one. So, I think you'd have to get a variance for the setback, is the way I read the zoning law. I'm happy to be proved wrong by anybody, because I hate to make you to go through that. I think it wouldn't be controversial, but Technically, I think that's the way it's supposed to be done. And then the only other thing is, if this is a county road, and so at some point we would have to refer this to county planning for their review, and generally that'll be a non-event. But it just means we have to wait for them to look at it.
Okay.
If anybody disagrees with any of that, I won't be hurt. That's the kind of the way I've.
Paul, if they just took the roof off
Right.
and like you say, replace the panels.
That's basically the plan.
Yeah, and the lighting will change from top to bottom, to bottom to top. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a lot of stuff that they're actually making it. If the dimensions remain the same,
So, yeah.
would they need a new permit? I don't know if they have a permit to do this.
I think, so Jeff, let me ask you something. So I just measured it today, the existing one. I got 6 feet wide by roughly 6.5 feet, just the panel part, not the roof, just the sign part.
Correct.
So you're over 30 square feet, which is the limit, the size limitation. So the issue there would be, so if you reduce the size of the panel, it would be up to the board to decide, do we, if the posts stay in, the roof comes off, you switch the lighting from the top to the bottom, and the signs are in compliance with the size limitation, is that a new permit situation, or is that just, maintenance?
It seems pretty de minimis to me, especially if the sign itself becomes a little bit smaller. The purpose of the sign law, I think, is to prevent large and obtrusive signs, but this would be a little bit smaller. I think it's grandfathered. It's been there forever.
Well, except that if you're altering or
no, I understand that.
Permit.
I understand. I'm just thinking in terms of the practical effect. It does seem like a lot of hoops to jump through for something that is really kind of uncontroversial.
The sign, I didn't mention that there's a letter board in between the two signs, a changeable letter board. That's going to be gone. So the sign will get substantially smaller because it'll just have the 6x2 signs, and it'll actually end up being lower to the ground. I think the sight line over the top should be better. It'll be a much smaller sign than what it is now, especially when it loses the roof. But we'd like to save the posts if the posts are in good shape. So it's going to be a smaller, less obtrusive sign in the long run.
So,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
I interrupted somebody.
The Pastor, the dimensions as you see it right now would be the top sign 6x3 and the bottom sign 6x2 or 6x2.5.
Correct. Yeah, the bottom 6x3 and 6x2.
Okay, so that would be 12 and 18. So that would be 30 square feet. So that would be within the code, correct?
Yes.
I think, to my mind, it's maintenance. This is
I
really.
agree.
I'm happy to call it maintenance.
Yeah, especially since it's being the maintenance will improve and shrink the size slightly. So now it would be in compliance. As far as it being grandfathered, that sign has been up there for a long, long time, I would imagine, Pastor.
Yeah, since the mid-'80s.
The question I just would have is the floodlights, just whatever that they would have to be compliant with whatever our lighting
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. I think the choice is going to be, you know, if it's maintenance, then I think we're done. They'll do the maintenance. You see what I'm saying? I don't know that we would issue a permit
Right.
that has flaws in it in the sense that we haven't, you know, with the
Right.
setback issue and all that. I think we declare that it's routine maintenance, you know, it's maintenance because they're just replacing the, you know, the panels on the posts and making it smaller, actually making it more conforming.
Yeah,
Jeff?
the only, I'm good with the maintenance. The only issue, as Sarah said, I want to make sure that the new lighting would not be obtrusive to the people on the road.
Yes.
That would be my only concern.
Yeah, that was one of the main things, I think. That's right.
Yes, we will, we'll address that. We'll make sure that it makes sense. The signs will be aimed in such a way that they don't catch the north-south traffic. That makes sense. And we really don't need a ton, a lot of bright light. We only have 100-watt LED bulb on both sides of the sign right now, and it's working pretty good. So we'll make sure that that's not hitting people in the eyes as they're coming around the corner.
Sounds good.
So,
Can I get a resolution from you guys for the future? This way we have it on record that you guys agreed, you know, that this doesn't have, that it's a maintenance, you know, whatever, the proposal. Paul?
you want a resolution? Let me think.
Saying that the proposed action is just maintenance because it's actually reducing the size and make it more conforming. And then you put the condition about the lighting.
I don't see how we put a condition in if it's maintenance, but
Yeah.
Well, we want to make sure that the lighting is.
I know, but I think the building inspector is going to have to, somebody's going to have to look at it.
Yeah, I think if Paul starts
That.
then we have to do a resolution.
I'm not sure we have to do it. I mean, or whatever you want, Art. I mean, isn't it just the record of the discussion, or do you really?
Yeah.
No, because they gave us an application. I mean, you really should give a resolution about your response about whether the action is a maintenance or it needs something.
Just say
you don't have to go crazy. It's just saying that the proposal is not really trigger a sign permit, that it's just a maintenance because it's improving and it's bringing the non-conforming sign to conforming.
So how about this? I'll write something up, but the gist of it will be, you know, a motion, the board declare the proposed action by the Evangelical Free Church to be maintenance on an existing, pre-existing non-conforming sign that will render the sign compliant with the current zoning law, and further that you know, a sign permit, given that this is maintenance on an existing sign, a sign permit is not required, and further that the installation of the lighting shall comply with that section, and we just talked about last time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'll put that in there, 250, I think, was it 28C?
I think so.
Yeah.
And further that the, upon completion of the maintenance and installation of the lighting, the sign shall be inspected for compliance by the building inspector, you know, I don't know, what is the issue? A certificate of appropriateness or something? Is that what it is? Or he'll issue something that says it's okay.
Certificate of compliance. But you see,
sorry, compliance. Yeah.
Yeah, this way there is an enforcement.
Okay, I should have written that down.
I kind of like appropriateness though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try to remember that and write it up.
Tracy, Tracy seconds
Mickey
it.
wants the video.
Okay, Pastor, you are released from the meeting.
Thank
So,
you very much.
you are now maintenance free.
Thank you guys very much. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate it very much.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Be safe.
Did we
Okay.
do a roll call? Wait, we did the
Yeah,
resolution.
you want to sign
We
off on
did,
the
we did the roll call. Art,
What?
I need the
The
roll call
resolution.
for the resolution. There's no vote.
Did it.
Okay, does anybody second that
I
resolution?
did.
Tracy did.
Tracy did it. Discussion.
None.
All in favor? Art, yay, aye.
Sarah, I.
Justin, I.
Jack, I.
Jerry, I.
Oh, aye.
Tracy, I.
Okay. So moved.
Thank you again.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, have a good night.
Is that it? There's no one else in the waiting room.
That's it.
Oh,
All good.
that's
All
it.
right, we're done.
15.
Oh, Dean.
Okay. Good. Dean, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you have any words of wisdom for us?
No words of wisdom. Yeah. I mean, other than as Paul was talking, I mean, 250-70 H5, which talks about just changing of the message and content, but not the design or format, would not require a sign permit. So
We were right.
Where is that,
Oh.
Dean? What section is it?
How about that?
250-70 H number 5.
70H.
250-70 -70 H
5.
number 5.
That it doesn't need a permit.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it's okay. That wasn't what they originally said they were going to do, but it seems like now they're going to do that, so that's fine.
Yeah, and it will comply.
They're going to change the design. What's that?
It will comply more. It'll
Yeah.
shrink the size of the sign, which
But it's still good to be to give a resolution. This way, we make sure that the lighting is not going to be like illuminating that road.
Yeah, that's like the main issue here was they were going to switch the lighting, and they didn't provide any detail on what they were doing, so kind of to figure out what they were doing. And I agree with you, Dean. Though that's basically it turned out that's kind of what they were trying to do. So.
Oh, what was the code for the lighting?
250-28C.
What do you say? Yeah.
Oh, that's the, okay, sorry. That's what you said initially. Sorry.
That's just lighting standards.
Okay.
So according to the supervisor, excuse me, the measuring the spaces, we could actually do an in-person meeting, but we're gonna have the social distancing, so 6 feet or 8 feet apart. So if, like the town board, I think they could, the town hall, they could fit, they measure, according to the measurement, they could fit 18 people. Excuse me, my throat. So if we don't have a public hearing, we could probably go back to in-person meeting. I'm gonna have to excuse me. God, this is right in my throat.
okay. Does anybody have anything else?
Nope.
No. Okay. Dean, anything else?
Just,
No.
just real quick, if we're going to do in-person meetings, is someone going to be taking temperatures of people at the door? Are we going to be doing any kind of
Good question.
requiring masks? Or, I mean, I know that a lot of other venues are required to do that in order for people to enter the premises. So I just wanted to, certainly nothing we have to decide today, but throw that out there. Something.
Well, obviously masks and social distancing, but bringing up the temperature thing, I think we should investigate. I think it's a logical idea. So I don't know how we do it, but I'm sure
how administrating that whole thing, obviously that's all a different separate discussion, not for something.
Arlene gets one of those temperature guns and she aims it.
Like a radar gun from the car.
That's right.
Well, it does
But I still
seem like different venues have different requirements. So like when you go to the doctor, they end up asking you a series of questions like,
Yeah.
have you been in contact with, and, you know, la, 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 la. But, you know, like I just went to a restaurant the other day and they didn't ask any of the questions, but they did do a temperature. So
Checked your
Well, my daughter at Rowan
restaurant?
there was a whole survey that she had to fill out and sign off on. Bunch of questions. Is there anyone at home who's sick? And, you know, and they are going to have to do that. I don't know how frequently, whether it's weekly or however that's going to go, but
where's she doing that at?
she's rowing out of Hudson River Rowing Association's boathouse down in Poughkeepsie.
So they checked your temperature at a restaurant, Dean?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought there's still the.
Maybe we should stay on Zoom for another month or two.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
we're,
they're not
we're
allowed
having
anymore.
an executive meeting in person on Thursday. So I guess we'll discuss all these things.
Yeah, I'd be happy to just stay on Zoom for another month or two.
Well,
Yeah.
it is very easy not to have to come into
Yeah.
the place. I mean,
Yeah.
But isn't
Well, it's certainly safer.
I thought there is a requirement you have to really disinfect everything in the office.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to just
Fogging
stay,
and all the stuff.
I'm
Right,
happy
I
to
mean-
just stay doing Zoom.
I mean, I understand that there's an added expense having our wonderful tech guy helping us out doing these meetings, but there's also an added expense in the disinfecting of the premises. So I don't know what the trade-off is, but that's something you all can discuss in your executive meeting.
you know, the ultimate problem is the ability for the rest of the town's residents to have input and
Right.
be able to interact with both the town board and any of the other committees. So that's ultimately what is
The
going
issue.
to drive us to go back to in-person, you know, type of meetings. So I think by July, 4th, 5th, 8th, something like that, we should be very close to phase 4 even. So at that point in time, we would be back to normal.
Yeah, phase 3 is supposed to open Tuesday.
Yep.
Okay. Well, but I'm just as happy to do Zoom, so.
I second that. Since we're on the other side of the world, on the other side of the Taconic here.
Well, it's like I had a Zoom meeting at 5:30, and then I said, oh, let me race home to catch this meeting. And so I was a little late getting in, but it was like I either stayed at the office and watched the meeting or I had to, you know, race home. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're all starting to get used to this, and hopefully we'll be going back to normal at some point in time, but I guess we'll wait and hear from you, Dean, about what the executive meeting comes out, if they come up with anything.
All right.
And as long as no one else has anything, I have two quick things. I've asked Arlene and our zoning enforcement officer and building inspector to write a letter to Crimson Hill. They have not, they have not renewed their sign permit. They had a variance to put a larger sign on, which I was not in favor of. And they also did not even pay for the sign permit for last year.
Right.
So a letter went out to them to rectify the situation. The other thing is, I want to thank everybody here for, one, being very smart, because you're making my job very easy, and working with the Zoom as we're going through this. Everybody's doing a really good job, and I want to thank you very much. And that's it. I'm going fishing. So if nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Jerry. Discussion. Okay, all in favor, Art, aye.
Justin, I-
Very aye.
Sarah, I.
Second, who did the second? Jack motion, who did the second?
No,
Second.
Jerry motion.
Jerry motioned, I'll second it.
Jerry,
And I vote in favor.
And Tracy, I.
okay.
Jerry, aye.
All right.
Paul, aye.
Wonderful.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
See you next
Night, all.
time.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night, all.
Have a good night. Stay safe, everybody.
Ciao.